interesting. And unfortunately, I didn't get to pick up a lot of launch titles, but overall, it's a great system. The investment is pretty big. I can see why a lot of people would be avoiding this, mainly because of the price tag. But trust me, in the long run, it's totally worth picking one up. Alright, welcome. This is going to be my review of Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition. So let's get into it. Now, a lot of people have been saying there's a lot of things being said about this game. A lot of good things and some negative things from the fans of the Street Fighter series. Before we get into the negative things, get into some of the positive things. One thing that it's already great about the game is it's a portable version of Super Street Fighter, which is one of the best fighting games of last year. And now you can have it on a portable system you can take anywhere to play. Now, do note that this isn't a small port of the game to the consoles. This is a full port of the 360 and PS3 fighting game. So it's not like the iPhone version where you're only getting like 8 characters. This has the full roster of all the characters, and yeah. All right. So one thing that's obvious change of the game is that it's in 3D, and overall it looks great in 3D. The 3D actually enhances the graphics. In my opinion, and the picture quality, it looks really good. As you see, it is a full port with almost every single mode in the game. I'll tell you why right now. But you have arcade versus, 3D versus, which is a new mode, internet match, challenge, training, player data, figure collection, and options. Figure collection is also a new one. Another thing said about this is, if you are going to pick up a 3DS, this is hands down the #1 title you have to pick up for it. It is the best launch title, and overall it's just a great fighting game. And if you haven't really played fighting games that much, you should still pick this one up because it's really easy to get into, and there's some new features in here that will make it easier for newcomers and for veteran players. Now, the one thing that y'all noticed, obviously, that's new is 3D versus and figure collection, and we're just going to jump to 3D versus real fast. Now, there's one thing that a lot of people were talking about, and that was some people complain about, especially veterans game, is that the 3D versus isn't that great. But honestly, I found myself playing 3D versus a lot more than playing 2D versus. And that was mainly for the reason because I wanted to see how the game looked in 3D. And 3D versus is the best way to go for it when you want to see the game in its full potential for being a 3D game. Now, that being said, when you do play in 2D, it still looks really nice. It plays just as well. But a 2D fighter doesn't necessarily need to be in 3D. What I'm basically saying is that you don't need 3D for a 2D fighter. So Capcom's option to this and their answer to this was 3D versus, where the camera has sort of turned to the side where you play this. Now, another thing you'll notice right off the bat is the touchscreen at the bottom has different controls, and I'll stop right there. You'll notice I'm playing. These is actually the pro controls, where you have your light attack and medium kick, your light attack, your medium attack, and your heavy attack that you push all three together. That will automatically do all three for you, instead of having to click all these buttons up here. Now, the one thing that a lot of people have been complaining about, especially veterans of the game, and that is the light control scheme mode. This is really good for newcomer players, and if you want to get into this game and they want to actually start playing and do combos, then they should play it on light thing, and that on the light control scheme. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of veteran players do not like, specifically because it has a one-button super combo, ultra combo move, and super combo move. So instead of having to actually put in the controls to do it, you simply just have to click the button on the touch screen to activate it. And a lot of people say that isn't great and that the game feels dumbed down because of it, but I think it's a nice little feature. For one thing, it's a portable version of the game, so it's not like you have a controller or joystick to play around with to do these combos, so it'll be a lot harder. So simply just by clicking the bottom touchscreen, it's a lot easier to access your stuff and to pull off combos a lot faster and quicker. My only real complaint about the game is the buttons, and I guess it's not really that much of Capcom's fault as it is Nintendo's, because you're putting a fighting game that requires 8 buttons on a 6-button system. Now that's not really that much of a bad thing. Like I said, that's what the bottom screen's for, is to help you. But what you basically have is your Y is your light punch, your medium punch, and then L is your heavy punch, and then yours is your light kick, your medium kick, and your heavy kick. Unfortunately, because of how the controls are set up, I've never really found myself ever using the left trigger. I just felt that it just felt weird and it was too out of place, since the joystick's over here when you're fighting. Although I do use the R button a lot, and that's what the touchscreen is here, down here for, to help you. And like I said, even the control schemes that you can use for the touchscreen help you a lot too. So overall, this is a really good fighting game that. So 3D versus, a lot of people will only play it for a short amount of time, but I found myself playing for a long time. I think a lot of people will actually be playing 3D versus for a while because it's actually really good. It's really nice. It really brings out the it really makes the game stand out and look really good. Another thing, I'm not sure if you've noticed, that obviously sacrifices have to be made for putting this on a portable version in a smaller system than a console. And that is that there are no moving backgrounds in the game. Now, a lot of people say that this is a little bit unfortunate because there's no moving background, it just looks kind of plain in the back. And I do kind of agree that it just looks like a still picture when you're playing around, but honestly, I don't think you're really going to be paying attention to the background as you are as much paying attention to the fighting and what's going on screen than in the background. So it's not that big of a problem. Especially for a lot of people, it's not that big of a problem, but there are some who find it a little tedious, but overall I like it. It doesn't really affect, it won't really affect the gameplay that much. It won't affect the experience of playing the game. Alright, so let's jump out of this. Another thing that this is the first and only, as far as I know, 3DS game to utilize the Spot Pass and Street Pass in the game. Basically, that's what the figure collection down here is for. What you'll basically do is, if you put this in sleep mode, whether you're playing whether you have the Street Fighter cartridge in or not, when you when you activate your Street Pass, anytime you pass someone else who also has the game, you will fight other figures with that player. And basically, what you do is you pretty much just choose a team of figures you want and put them in your party, and whenever you pass someone else, those figures will fight off against each other, and you will just win other figures. And it's a nice little concept, it's a nice little thing. I see what they were trying to do with it, but unfortunately you can't really do anything with the figures. Yes, you can just collect them and try to fill up the thing to get 100% completion on the game, but you really won't be doing much anything else with the figures. They're just sort of there to be there and to have like little things to look at the things you've earned, and unfortunately they don't do much. Another thing that's nice that they decided to add to the game was they brought their own little version of achievements into the game. So for those of you who like going out and like playing more than just the game itself and going out and trying to get extra stuff or achievements, or in this case medals, then they'll give you some more things to play with on the game. So you'll be coming back to play it a little more if you want to 100% complete it or just play it more and do other things. And with the medals, they're basically just like achievements, where each thing has a certain criteria for you to do, and then once you unlock them, you get a certain medal for it. It's pretty nice. Now, the one thing that I'm kind of have some issues with is the internet match games. Now, when I say issues, I don't mean that the game is the playing online is laggy or anything like that. It's actually pretty flawless. It doesn't take that long to find a match. You'll pretty much go into it really quickly. But unfortunately, there are only 2 modes in an internet match, and that is versus and 3D versus. Whereas the console version had rank match, player match. You can make parties of up to 8 players, which I think you could do in this game, but I'm not 100% sure. And also they had tournament mode where you can host little tournaments and play with your friends or with random people. And it would have been nice if Capcom had added that to the game, but unfortunately decided not to for whatever reason. And other than that, overall, the Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition, in my opinion, is one of the best renditions of the Street Fighter 4 video games, and mainly for the sole reason because it's portable. You can take it anywhere. It looks really nice in 3D, and overall, it's just a great simplified game for veteran players and newcomers to jump into and just start playing. It's really well done. They brought everything from the console version into this one, and a lot of street. Damn it. A lot of they brought a lot into this game, and all in all, Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition in my opinion, is the best version of Super Street Fighter 4 you can get. Mainly for the sole reason because it's portable and you can take it anywhere, and it's just an overall fun game. You will spend as much time playing Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition as much as you played the console version, and maybe even more with all the little extra stuff they have added.